welcome to another episode of Haq Mubashir's podcast. In this, we're going to talk about CAT, Clear Air Turbulence. We all fly at some point of our life, and most of us are aware of the term turbulence, but we are, in a layman's term, what we are not aware of the term called CAT, Clear Air Turbulence, and why it is so dangerous. So basically, the CAT is the least predictable or observable type of disturbance, is often the culprit behind moderate to severe injuries. And according to data from Federal Aviation Administration, 146 passengers and crew have been seriously injured by CAT between 2009 and 2021. This can occur very suddenly without giving any notice, and passengers can be caught off guard, including the pilots. And it is like a rising culprit between moderate to severe injuries. Very recent example is like aireuropia flight from Madrid, which was rocked by severe turbulence over Atlantic, in which 30 passengers have been injured. You all must have seen the photograph where even one passenger was stuck in the overhead bin. And the another thing, the last month turbulence issue of Singapore Airlines has also been somewhat being talked about. That was it a CAT, though the flight was flying at 37,000 feet, which is way clearer than the altitude of clear air turbulence, but still that could be one of the reasons. So in this video, we'll see what is CAT in bit detail. So what are the three reasons which cause clear air turbulence? First of all is mountain. So some air passes smoothly over and onward, while some air crowds against the mountains themselves, and it has nowhere to go but up. So the only way these air has a vent is in upward direction. These mountain waves can propagate as wide, gentle oscillation into atmosphere, but sometimes they break into many pockets of tumultuous air, turbulent air, and it affects the airline, and it is known as turbulence. So one of the reason, or one of the three reason of CAT is mountains. Second, it's also caused by jet stream. So basically, jet stream is basically a difference between velocity of the wind as an aircraft passes from region of maximum wind speed. So these deaccelerating wind can cause shear regions that are prone to turbulence. So basically, if your aircraft is passing from the region of high pressure wind to a region of low pressure wind, this gradient will shake your aircraft, and this is the second reason or the cause of clear air turbulence. And third is storms. Although it's easy to understand the word thunderstorm, and generally to avoid that, pilot changes altitude, they go into holding pattern, they change the flying direction because they can see it. But the problem with CAP, that is clear air turbulence, is that it cannot be easily detected. And as per a recent study, these storms can generate bumpy condition in very far away skies. So the source may not be even near where a plane is flying. And it breaks into turbulence 100 to even 1,000 miles away from the source. As per Robert Sherman, the turbulence researcher at National Center for Atmospheric Research. So these are the three reasons which cause clear air turbulence. Now, what is the probability of occurrence? First of all, it's important to understand that it's a typically very violent phenomena that generally occur between 23,000 to 39,000 feet above sea level, as per Hassan Shahidi, who is president and CEO of the Flight Safety for Singapore. Can pilots see it? No. What makes clear air turbulence dangerous is that it can't be seen in advance, like the normal turbulence, which is caused by pocket of air or weather. To avoid that, normally flights divert or enter into a holding pattern. But since it can't be seen in advance, pilot does not have much time to inform passengers, and by the time they realize it, they're already into it. A 2023 study has found that clear air turbulence has increased by 41% over the past 40 years. Guys, the purpose of this video was not to scare anyone, but just to make sure that always have your seat belt on. Don't always believe that pilot will be able to see the turbulence in advance. There are chances that your flight, especially when it's crossing the ocean, crossing Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, Indian Ocean, may run into CAT, and the source may not be even near where your plane is. So it's always advised to keep your seatbelt on. And yeah, and nowadays aviation planes are built to sustain those. So if you're having a seatbelt on, so even and you have entered your C80, 99.9% you all will cross it safely. May Allah keep us all safe whenever we enter severe turbulence.